Details of these stories and many more coming up in the next 1 hour. Do stay with us.
Let's dig in now. And the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, together with the Convention People's Party, All People's Congress, the Liberal Party of Ghana, and the Great Consolidated People's Party, GCPP, have headed to the Apex Court to stop the limited voter registration to be carried out by the Electoral Commission. Among others, the parties are of the view that the EC's decision to restrict the centers of voter registration to the district offices may deprive many eligible voters of their right to be registered as voters and to vote in public elections. Lord Edwasare has more.
The 5 opposition political parties are praying the Supreme Court to declare as unconstitutional the Electoral Commission's decision to undertake the continuous or limited registration of voters to its district offices as the designated registration centers instead of the electoral areas. The Electoral Commission earlier announced September 12 to begin the registration of first-time voters onto the electoral roll ahead of the district-level election slated for December 19. The Commission, however, noted that the exercise will be limited to its district offices. The opposition political parties have thus filed an injunction suit against the exercise. Citing a breach of Article 42 of the 1992 Constitution, they are asking the Supreme Court to order the Electoral Commission to designate electoral areas in addition to its district offices as registration centers that are suitable and accessible to every Ghanaian who is desirous of exercising his or her constitutional right to be registered as a voter.
All right, let's speak to Sammy Gyamfi, who is the Communications Officer of the National Democratic Congress. Mr. Gyamfi, a very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us on News 360.
Thanks for having me.
I'm sure the Electoral Commission definitely must have done an assessment of, its exercise, that's the limited registration exercise, to come to the conclusion that only its district offices should be used for this exercise. What exactly are the concerns that the NDC and these other 4 parties are raising?
Well, the concerns we are raising are very simple. Basically, we're saying that the decision by the Electoral Commission to restrict the upcoming limited voter registration exercise to their district offices is unlawful, unreasonable, unconscionable, and senseless. It will disenfranchise many eligible voters. It will suppress votes, and it will enable the Electoral Commission to manipulate the electoral process ahead of the 2024 elections. And we say so for very, very simple reasons. Number one, Article 42 of the 1992 Constitution of this country, the supreme law of the land, enjoins or it provides that every Ghanaian 18 years and above and of a sound mind is entitled to be registered and to vote in public elections and referenda. Now, if you check Article 45 of that same Constitution, which provides the functions of the EC, it says that the EC shall undertake programs to expand voter registration. That is how important voter registration was to the framers of the 1992 Constitution. It is because the right to vote is based on the right to be registered. Right. And that right is inalienable. It is sacred. It must be protected at all times.
Okay.
Now, if you check the law governing voter registration, which is CI 91, it says that in determining the centers of registration, the EC must choose places that can serve as polling stations on election day. Clearly, the district offices of the Electoral Commission cannot serve. They have never served as polling stations on election day. Again, the law enjoins the EC to choose registration centers that are accessible to prospective registrants.
Right.
Their district offices are not accessible because for many districts, people will have to travel long distances, in some cases 50 kilometers, 60 kilometers, at and pay exorbitant transport fares before they can access these centers. And when they come, they have to come and join long queues. It may not even get to the 10 of some of them. What do we expect them to do after they have coughed up 50 cedis, 100 cedis, 200 cedis as transport fares?
Okay,
They
but
Sammy,
have you
transport fares for their guarantors when they come and they don't get the opportunity to register? Where are they going to stay? Who is going to pay for their transport fare? Who is going to pay for their accommodation? Who is going to feed them?
So have you raised these
many
concerns,
people.
Mr. Gyamfi, if you'd indulge me, have you raised these concerns with the Electoral Commission? Have you exhausted all available means of getting the EC to give you reasons why they have limited the registration centers to their district offices?
They don't have any reason. And in fact, there cannot be any sensible reason for that.
But have you engaged them? Have you tried to engage them?
Your question. Can I answer your question before you come in with another? With regards to your question on whether or not we've drawn the attention to this, emphatically yes. There are 5 plaintiffs in this matter. 4 of them are members of IPAC. They still attend IPAC. They've not boycotted IPAC like the NDC. I'm talking about the CPP, the LPG, the APC, and so on. All of them have appealed to the Electoral Commission to review this decision. They were at IPAC, and the IPAC was unanimous on the fact that this decision by the Electoral Commission to restrict registration to their district offices was a recipe for disaster and was going to suppress votes. The EC has refused to lend them a listening ear. They have refused to even invite them for further deliberation. So it is very clear that this is a belligerent Electoral Commission hell-bent on disenfranchising eligible voters.
Mr. Gyamfi, thank you for your time, and certainly we'll be engaging you further as the days roll on. We wait to hear how this will play out in court. Sammy Gyamfi is the Communications Officer of the National Democratic Congress and 4 other parties who have sued the Electoral Commission. Let's speak to private legal practitioner now, Martin Kpebu, who is also the convener of the Kumi Preko Reloaded demonstration and someone who actually has been paying keen attention to developments within the political space. Mr. Kpebu, good evening, I should say. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, good evening, Name. Good.
It looks as though the NDC and these other parties say that they have exhausted all avenues to get the EC to rescind or review its decision. From your perspective, is this court action necessary, given the preparation that has already gone into the exercise expected to start in about 6 days?
Yes, you see, the court action is necessary because the EC is unwilling to budge. So if the EC is unwilling to budge, then the reasonable thing to do is to sue. Yeah, in a democracy such as ours, that's one of the best things to do. So you see that now that even the rate has been filed, you see the conversation is on. You've interviewed Mr. Sammy Gyamfi. Other people will come to contribute. I'm also contributing. So through these conversations, perhaps the EC could look at it again and then decide to settle. You know, when you take a matter to court, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to wait for the judge to determine it years later. No, once the rate has been filed and the EC is served, even without being served, once they've heard about it, perhaps they will begin to rethink that, oh, what can we do to meet these parties halfway? And so they can invite the parties to come, and then they begin to negotiate, and they can come out middle of the road. But it's so simple. Look, Martin, times are so hard. Okay, at least about 3 million of our citizens live on less than 24 Ghana cedis a day. Poverty is so high. So it beggars believe that you can come out with a registration process that says that go to the district offices of the EC. Some of them long distances, long. I think one day somebody was showing that one of the distances is over 100 kilometers. All right, it's not possible. So perhaps minimum, even if the EC cannot do for all, then the longer ones, perhaps they will start with those ones and bridge.
Okay.
Open more offices for registration in those ones. So something can be done, but it certainly cannot be registration in only the district offices of the EC.
Right, and beyond these 5 political parties taking on the EC, could citizens who probably also feel that they cannot travel these distances to register or maybe having any kind of challenge in registering also take on the Electoral Commission?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Coincidentally, this afternoon, somebody contacted me. It was actually morning, just about 11. And then I said I'll get back to him because I was in the middle of something. And then, well, I got busy. I hadn't gotten back to him. And then I saw this rate. So it's good that citizens are engaging. Yes, because Article 45 says that the EC should expand, should have programs to expand the voters register.
Right.
So Article 45 says that you should register people to vote in an election. So don't do it in a manner that will suppress votes.
Right.
No. It's conduct by the EC smacks of voter suppression.
Thank you so much, Martin Kpebu, for your thoughts. And he's a private legal practitioner. We'll definitely be engaging you further as well on these subjects as they roll on. Portia?
Let's now go to the Western region, where Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Dr. Sam Jonah, has urged the public, particularly politicians and public office holders, to voice their concerns about corruption. He was addressing the 2023 annual general meeting of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana in Takoradi.
Speaking on the theme, the pharmacist for national development, businessman and Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Dr. Sam Jonah emphasized the importance of speaking out against wrongs and assisting in achieving national development goals. The executive chairman of Jonah Capital, an equity fund based in Johannesburg, South Africa, urged Ghanaians to take action against injustices and work towards a more prosperous nation.
We are where we are, ladies and gentlemen. But the health of our nation is not what we want it to be. Like in a patient, a system that must work together to ensure wellness are not functioning as expected. And as a result, our values are under siege. Confidence in key institutions are on the decline. Checks and balances, which are desperately needed for the progress of any nation, are seriously compromised. Corruption and greed have eaten deep into the fabric of our nation.
The former CEO of the then Ashanti Goldfields Corporation questioned why the Minerals Commission seems powerless to combat illegal mining, arguing that the fight against it is not about the availability of laws but the willingness to enforce them.
I am not against small-scale mining. What I am against is the manner in which the laws of the country are flouted with impunity to destroy water bodies and the soils and the environment for the many so that just a few can make money. Illegal mining is not about the lack of laws. It's about the will to want to enforce the laws. The law is very clear. You cannot mine within a certain distance proximity of a water body. The law is very clear about how you dispose of your waste from your mining activities.
He urged pharmacists to integrate new technologies into indigenous health and knowledge systems, aiming to produce world-class pharmaceutical output, given Africa's small global pharmaceutical market share and the need to transcend traditional roles.
The Pharmacy Society of Ghana must speak up with clarity to engage the general public, local investors, and government. The entrepreneurial and risk-aggressive among you must move decisively to form partnerships with established foreign companies for the purpose of acquiring much-needed technology liquidity through foreign direct investment.
Away from the Western region, the Police Council has interdicted COP George Alex Mensah and 2 other police officers at the center of the probe of a leaked audio tape by a parliamentary committee. There's more on the event leading to this point in this report.
In July 2023, a leaked audio tape surfaced. The content of the tape featured senior NPP and police officers engaged in a plot regarding the removal of the IGP Dr. George Ekufu Dampare and matters relating to the 2024 election. The National Investigations Bureau, NIB, picked up the personal aids of one of the persons heard on the tape, Chief Buri Nabu, for interrogation. The minority in Parliament latched on the issue. Deputy Leader Ama Kofi Boah made a statement on the floor of the House asking the Speaker to commission a probe into the matter. The Speaker granted the request and set up a 7-member committee under the leadership of lawyer and legislator Samuel Atachina. Their terms of reference included authenticating the tape and making recommendations for the reform of the police service. For the past 2 weeks, the committee has been holding public hearings. Chief Bugrin Abu, COP George Alex Mensah, Superintendent Eric Jebi, and Superintendent George Asai have all appeared before the committee. Some of the key witnesses have been restrained by the committee in relation to their comments in a bid not to sully the reputation of the police service. They have now been interdicted. It is unclear whether this interdiction will have any ramifications for the ongoing probe.
Let's now speak to lawyer Kweku Owusu-Agyeman. He is counsel for COP George Mensah. Counsel, thank you so much for your time. First of all, how is your client reacting to his interdiction?
Good evening and thanks for the opportunity. My client is okay. When he received the document, we have since met and discussed the document as it was said. So I can confirm to you that he's fine.
Did this come as a surprise to you pending this parliamentary probe?
Indeed, it does. We were expecting that the service will allow Parliament to make its own findings. As you are aware, the probe is for Parliament to establish the facts which are now in the public domain. So it's quite a surprise to us that this has happened. But as it may, we take it in good faith, and we will also see what our clients' rights are.
What are the other options that you may consider?
Well, we are still discussing it for our clients. When the document was served on him, he made us aware. So in the few days ahead of us, we will also make our reactions very clearly known.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. And lawyer Kweku Owusu-Agyeman is counsel for COP George Mensah.
Let's turn our attention to health-related stories now. And residents of Nima in Accra are concerned about the Ayawaso East Municipal Assembly's notice to demolish their polyclinic for the Agenda 111 health facility. They fear they may suffer a similar fate to the La residents whose community hospital is yet to be redeveloped 3 years after it was pulled down. My colleague Sarah Penkro has the rest in the story.
The Nima Polyclinic has been earmarked as site for the Agenda 111 project in the Ayawaso East district of the Greater Accra region. According to the Assembly, the exercise has become necessary as it needs to provide a 5-acre land space to government for the project to begin. According to government, 88 of the Agenda 111 hospital projects are already at various levels of construction and are progressing steadily. The Ayawaso East Municipal Assembly says the Nima Polyclinic, which was established in the 1980s, is no longer serving its purpose. Management and staff of the polyclinic are expected to comply with the September 15 deadline. A 2-story block will be the only building which will not be demolished.
We are planning to demolish the the short building, but we will leave the main ward, the one we constructed, that was 2 years ago, so that they can manage. And we have cheap zones too in the municipality, so we'll try and manage with the cheap zones and then the Nima main ward, because everything is ready for the project to begin.
Residents have been expressing some concerns about the project.
Wasi yabubu yangeni still wasi somebody do muye wasi trefe ninsu ya sayo honsu yangeni.
The same way they demolished the La General, Trade Fair and Co. So we are worried. Even the distance to the Kotobabi clinic.
The hospital is important, but they shouldn't keep long in building it to avoid issues.
We are not happy with the previous demolition, and so are we with this one. They are not straightforward. It's their structure, and they have decided to demolish it. I have nothing to say.
But the presiding member for the assembly, Abu Awuvami Pozo, says there is no cause to worry.
We are all affected. We are not doing it because we want to demolish the hospital, but it's something that we cannot do about it, nothing about it. Once we need an 80-seater hospital, we need to demolish or build it.
The Health Minister, Kwikwa Agyeman-Manu, confirmed being aware of the project and assured that no health worker at the facility will be affected. So on the 15th of September, most parts of the facility would be broken down to create space for the Agenda 111 project in the Ayawaso East District. Sarah Apenkro, TV3 News, Accra.
To one of our headline stories now, and farmers along the White Volta in the northern part of the country have begun harvesting their food crops prematurely. This is due to the Bagri Dam spillage, from which thousands of hectares of farmlands are already submerged.
Farms along the White Volta, including Galaka, Kuzongo, Salpiga and Zongiri, have been submerged in rising floodwaters, forcing farmers to start harvesting prematurely. Many cannot access their farms, and those with canoe access can only observe water levels. The fate of these farmers hang in the balance. Salifu Matthew is considering prematurely salvaging his maize, but is uncertain about the capacity of the harvested crop.
This is our fate as farmers along the White Volta. We couldn't salvage anything except this maize in front of me, which has also rotten. I'm compelled to harvest my maize, though they are not fully matured. I have to do so. Maybe I might end up getting a day's meal at least.
Ayam Akigri faces a significant challenge as her crops are nearing maturity, and her primary concern is repaying the loans she contracted for the farming season.
This area has been the source of our livelihood many decades, but not anymore due to the devastating impact of the Barry Dam spillage. My major concern has to do with how to repay the loans.
Farmers are demanding urgent intervention to address the Barry Dam spillage, with the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, advising residents to relocate to higher grounds to avoid being caught up in the floods.
Let's now continue with the rest of our stories. And motorists will be risking their lives if they maintain the 100 km/h on the Accra-Tema motorway due to its current state. The highway has been ravaged by deep potholes and cracks coupled with persistent infractions, a major contributory factor of road accidents on the 19-kilometer stretch. George Queenan reports.
The 58-year-old Accra-Tema motorway is in dire condition with deep cracks and potholes, making it a major contributor to road accident and making it less efficient. 136 people have died on the expressway in the last 4 years. Transport experts advise motorists to drive at a low speed to protect their lives, as the current state of the road puts more people at risk of death daily, despite the sanctioned 100 km/h speed limit. The debris from an accident on September 3 at the first toll booth en route to Tema has not yet been cleared.
I can say both drivers are no more considering the impact of the accident. It was very gory on Sunday.
The limited accessibility of 2 out of 5 lanes for motorists has caused concern among pedestrians.
The free flow of traffic at the toll booth is a major cause of accidents. If the toll system is no longer working, government should demolish it.
If you thought infractions on the highway are no more, then you ought to revise your notes.
Whilst plying the Accra-Tema motorway, you can count 4 or more illegal U-turns, and this is one of them. It is one of the major causes of road accidents on the 19-kilometer highway.
Persistent disregard for road safety regulations, including parking without warning signs and pedestrians and scooters crossing at unauthorized locations, lead to increased accidents.
If government decisions to reconstruct the 19-kilometer Accra-Tema motorway is anything to go by, then motorists and even pedestrians cannot wait to heave a sigh of relief. George Quinn, TV3 News, Accra.
To some other stories, the Asantehene has called on Colombia to invest in Ghana in the area of mining and agriculture. Otumfuo II made the call when the first black Colombian vice president, Francia Marquez, paid a courtesy call on him at the Mincha Palace.
The vice president of Colombia is in Ghana to enhance political, economic, and cultural ties between the two countries. Asantehene Otumfuo II said the strong ties between Colombia and Ghana should manifest into more collaborations for both countries to make good returns.
With your own background in agriculture and mining and an environmentalist, we believe strongly that your weather and our weather, the agricultural systems are the same. And therefore, who better for us to communicate through when we have our daughter as the vice president? We believe strongly that with you there, Ghana and Africa would have a voice in Colombia. Who best to also be our promoter? You. So that we can engage investments from Colombia to Ghana, Ghana to Colombia. In the field of mining, environmental degradation that you fought for.
Francia Marquez pledged their readiness to invest in trade and agriculture.
Dentro del gobierno. I am here to represent the President of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, who he gave me a task to reconnect with Africa. But of course, we have already cultural roots that connect our and makes our bonds. But we have to work on agriculture, on different exchange, on trade, and that's what we are here to work and make this a reality.
The visit to Ghana also forms part of a tour to several African countries.
You're still watching News 360 on TV3. Still to come, the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, that's the DVLA, is to migrate some 72,000 PVC cards to smart cards by March 2024. Details of that and more coming up right after this.
In more news tonight, the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority intends to migrate some 72,000 PVC cards to smart cards by March 31, 2024. The authority, prior to 2017, flagged the technology used in issuing cards as flawed and obsolete.
The Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, has initiated steps to transition to a smart driver's license card. What that means is that the old cards, which are the PVC cards, will be phased out latest March 31, 2024. Prior to 2017, the authority realized that the technology used in issuing these cards was flawed, obsolete, and lacked enhanced security features. It's a reason they had to go smart, and now they can interface with the NIA, thereby harmonizing Ghana's database.
The new one was introduced on 17 September 2017, and then the old one ceased from 16 September 2017. It meant that from September 2017, we actually started replacing all these cards.
The DVLA expects to migrate some 72,000 cars to smart cars. Out of that number, they are making room for some possible cases.
We don't have information when people pass, when people become invalid and those. So it is possible that within that 72,000, some may not turn up for those reasons. Some might even have traveled. So that is the estimated number. But it may turn out that all of them may not even turn out to replace.
In case you're wondering how the smart card will look like, this is what it is. I'm sure by now that's what you're using. And this is the PVC card, that's the old one. And according to the DVLA, this whole migration exercise didn't start now. It started way back in 2017.
It has actually given us a lot of benefits. Now, if you recall, recently the police have started engagement on the spot fine activities. This solution will afford them the opportunity to interface with us and be able to identify drivers, verify vehicles.
If you acquired your driver's license pre-September 2017, what that means is that by September 16,
It would have lasted at 5 years prior duration, and so the DVLA is encouraging persons like you to renew their card and get migrated to a smart card. Josh Craning, TV3 News, Accra.
It's now time for business news with Michael. Michael, what is the Bank of Ghana saying?
Well, it's all about the conversation about the ECHO. You know, the deadline for its implementation was 2026, but I don't think that will be feasible.
Okay, all right.
All right, good evening. Welcome to the business segment here on News 360. My name is Michael Obodu. Now, the Bank of Ghana has requested ECOWAS member countries to be realistic with the 2026 deadline for the launch of the ECO currency, as no member state has been able to meet all 4 primary criteria of convergence. Head of Research at the Bank of Ghana, Philip Abredu-Otu, has called for a readiness assessment of the single currency in 2027, despite the challenges faced with its implementation.
The ECO is the name for the proposed common currency of the Economic Community of West African States. Since the proposal, ECOWAS member states have been faced with challenges of meeting all the 4 convergence criteria at the same time. In 2022, only 2 member countries, Guinea and Liberia, met the budget deficit criterion, emphasizing the need for policy reforms.
Performance on the average annual inflation criterion sharply declined, with only Benin and Niger meeting that target. The central bank financing criterion also saw a deterioration in 2022, with 4 member states missing the target, emphasizing the need for policy reforms. Lastly, while performance on the gross external reserve criterion weakened slightly in 2022, 14 member states still complied, showcasing the region's resilience in that regard. At the end of December 2022, no member state met all 4 primary convergence criteria.
Head of Research at the Bank of Ghana, Philip Abredu-Otu, wants member countries to come together and reassess the 4 primary convergence criteria for the launch of the single currency.
While this performance is worrying, it is not surprising given the challenges the region has faced over the past 3 years. That notwithstanding, a concerted effort is required to help improve our macroeconomic environment and place the region on a stronger convergence path for a viable monetary union. The concern is whether the 2026 deadline for achieving convergence is still realistic.
The opening of the 43rd Joint Ordinary Meeting of the Technical Committees of the West African Monetary Agency brought together member countries to review reports for the first half of 2023 and also discuss the roadmap of the various sectors of economies of member states.
Players in the insurance space within the ECOWAS sub-region are set to experience standardization across board. This comes on the back of the adoption of a regulatory policy framework by the West African Monetary Initiative, WAMI. In an interview at the 6th College of Insurance Supervisors of WAMI, Acting Commissioner of Insurance at the National Insurance Commission, Michael Andor, says this new policy will ensure best practices and improve the sector's contribution to GDP.
Mainly, we are trying to harmonize and synchronize the supervision of insurance across the member countries and to learn from each other to improve it. And you would also realize that there are insurance companies that operate across the region, and it is important that the various countries have a common or similar framework for regulating it so that there will not be any arbitrage. It will be the same regulation from country to country so that we will all identify the critical issues, deal with them, and ensure that the insurance market is stable and safe.
The government of Ghana has successfully settled an alternative offer of pension fund bondholders on September 4, 2023 as part of its efforts to stabilize the economy post-COVID-19. Now, the settlement followed terms outlined in a July 31, 2023 exchange memorandum. It involved issuing exchange bonds to eligible holders with details provided in official documentation. On September 5, payments totaling 2,060 million cedis were made to exchange bond holders reflecting treasury bonds as if they had been issued earlier. Additionally, 274.91 million cedis was paid to holders of exchange bonds in respect of ESLA bonds and Dache bonds. According to a statement from the Finance Ministry, this settlement reflects government's commitment to financial transparency and stability. Now, away from that, President of the Ghana Union of Traders Associations, GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obeng, has re-echoed the fact that access to credit has never been a problem to businesses in Ghana, contradicting the revelation by Bank of Ghana's latest report, which revealed about 15.5% increase in accessing credit by institutions in the second quarter of 2023. He added the increase was as a result of the exchange rate depreciation.
We have not said anywhere that we lack access to credit in this country. What we lack is access to affordable credit. The credit that we have here in this country is overpriced. And that's what Bank of Ghana should be thinking about. That's what the government itself should be thinking about. The exchange rate has made it so that you have to increase your capital before you are able to acquire the same product that you used to buy the previous year. And so in city terms, definitely the credit will go up because, you know, businesses survive some credit to thrive. Also because cost of goods and services have gone up. The same credit of yesterday cannot provide for the same goods that was acquired the previous year or two. Even 15% is not on the higher side, because if you look at how the cedi was depreciated, then of course it would have been doubled of the amount of the previous years of credit. And so if we are doing comparison, then we have to put it in that context.
Well, that'll be all for the business segment here on News 360. For more business stories, our website 3news.com is there for you. My name is Michael Obodu. Thank you for watching. As always, please stay safe. Up next, the sports.
And so Ghana top Group E with 12 points and go through the qualification series unbeaten. My colleague Thierry Nyan is at the Babayara Sports Stadium and found this report after the win tonight.
This a pitch-perfect performance by the Black Stars of Ghana here at the Babayara Sports Stadium, and especially in the second half where Ernest Nuamah stole all 3 points for the Stars in the end. It was backed by the likes of Antoine Semenyo and Mohamed Kudus, who himself got himself a goal in the first half to cancel out what was an early lead by Central African Republic. But in the end, the Black Stars of Ghana rose to the occasion and have gathered all 3 points, needing only 1 point. They got even better, all 3 points to seal qualification to the tournament, that is the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. It's been Operation Cote d'Ivoire for some months now, but in the end, the Black Stars of Ghana have sealed their qualification, and it has been over the likes of Angola, who would finish second in Ghana's group. Chris Huting is a happy man.
So for me, it's always about the ending. The ending is that we won the game. I think in the end we could have won it more comfortably with more goals. So we continue to work.
For the fans, they turn up here in their numbers. It wasn't a full stadium, but for those who were here, they were loud in their voices, showing full support to the Black Stars, who would have no complaints, about the turnout over here. And the fans are a happy bunch as well. What were your expectations?
It was a good game, a great game, but you could see the opponent was very physical when they came. They had an early goal which destabilized the team a little bit, but we came back strongly, and it's good with one.
As compared to what the previous matches against Angola and then the other teams, I can see that this team is one of the best, especially for the second half. But for me to be convinced about how we are going to get the trophy back home, for that one, I think we have so many things to do before we can do this.
Well, looking at their performance today, in fact, we won the game from the bench. It was a tactical decision that catapulted the Black Stars to the victory. This is because looking at the first half, it was a balanced game, end-to-end action. But during the second half, looking at the changes the coach did, that also enhances Black Stars' performance.
They wanted to have early goal and then
catch us on the break. But then our defenders, our goalkeeping department, and then our midfielders did so well.
So the Black Stars of Ghana topping their group with 12 points, and definitely this is everything they needed getting into the tournament. And hopefully this tournament in Cote d'Ivoire will be the one that the trophy does come home. Reporting for TV3, my name is Thierry Nyan from the Baba Yara Sports Stadium in Kumasi.
Was all joy and excitement in Kumasi, especially in and around the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. But let's just recap why Ghanaians are so happy. The big story is that the Black Stars have secured qualification to the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations in Ivory Coast. But how exactly did they do it? Let's just take a look at the table. I remember Ghana were in Group E with Angola, Central African Republic, and Madagascar. In the end, the Black Stars finished top with 12 points, no losses, but 3 draws and 3 wins at home. It's interesting that all the time that the Black Stars drop points were away from home. Angola pick up the second slot, and so it's Ghana and Angola who both qualify for the Africa Cup of Nations next year in Ivory Coast. Well, that's how we wrap up the sports segment here on News 360. My name is Ore Kwampofo. Up next on the bulletin is Entertainment with Anita.
Welcome back to News 360. Time now for entertainment, and Anita is here. Hello, Anita.
Hi, Martin. Hi, Portia.
Hi. What do you consider a career in acting?
I've tried acting before.
Oh.
It just didn't work out, and I'm not sure I'd want to go back.
No, you have to go back.
No, I'm not going back.
I'm sure I would like to watch.
I'll share my experience much later, but let's get into the details of the entertainment news segment. My name is Anita Ekia Ekufu, and versatile Ghanaian singer and case crooner Mr. Drew says he would have gone into acting if he had not done music, and he told Owusu-Orai he is open to be casted for roles and is looking forward to offers from producers. But which roles do you think Mr. Drew will be comfortable playing? Take a look.
Say hustle for the paper. Small boy they hustle, then somebody want to hit down.
If you had not done music, what would you have
done acting, yeah, because I studied theater in school, so I would have gone into acting.
Have you done some movies already?
No, I haven't, but probably I will. Let's see how things go.
Something you're looking forward to?
Yeah.
What are you telling me?
Mr. Drew in a movie or two.
Yeah, they're listening. So what are you telling them?
I mean, I'm open. I'm open to being in movies, series, whatever it is. I mean, I'm open to it.
I know it's a big business as well, just like music, and people also have their rates. Is Mr. Drew very expensive to have in a movie project?
I haven't done one before, but obviously it will be expensive because we have a career that's already doing well. So if you're gonna have Mr. Drew on your movie, like in your movie, then you would have to have a different conversation from, anybody else. So yeah, that's just it.
Let's talk about movie roles. Which of them will you be very comfortable playing?
I could play anything. I could play anything. Lover boy, cowboy, everything.
Playing a gangster.
Everything. We go fit do everything.
Well, he says he can play any role. And still, on Mr. Drew, the musician says he sees nothing wrong with a look-alike craze, and he's of the opinion that people should be allowed to do what they want. The well-loved musician, however, feels it will be unfair for any event organizer to engage a look-alike to perform their songs.
Yeah. Look-alike phenomenon. Yeah, I think it was in the news some time ago, and we heard from some of the artists.
You people dog them. You people for support.
What was your reaction when you saw your look-alike?
I mean, I was cool with it. I'd seen him, but I never really paid attention. Yeah, he was at my concert last year, Sele concert last year. But I never paid attention. He came on stage, took a picture with me. And today, I think that's his DP, is his profile picture everywhere. And so, yeah, I'm calm with it. I'm cool.
Something you endorse? Before it's okay, people should be allowed to do what they want and what they love.
I mean, if somebody wants to shave their head and look like Mr. Drew, I know. I feel like the people even know that, it's just a face, it's just that will pass by. But then for anybody in the industry, they will know that, we have bigger things to actually be thinking about. Like, there's a whole, Afrobeat race about African music and who's pioneering it and who's leading it and whether our music is good enough.
So what are your thoughts on that conversation?
Our music is good, trust me. Big shout out to every Ghanaian artists out there. Our music is good and it's amazing. We're doing our best. Yeah.
Finally, how would you feel if your lookalike goes around performing your song? What would be your reaction?
I don't think that would be possible. No, I don't think any event organizer would do that. I don't think so. It won't happen.
What will you do?
It won't happen. I don't think any serious event organizer would do that. No.